Yeah, it is another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Immediate apologies for the haircut. I moved, so I'm trying to find a new barber. There's one right in my track, like in a little strip mall, like connected to my track. You can tell a Long Beach Vietnamese barber one thing, and you can tell a Huntington Beach Vietnamese barber the exact same thing and get two completely different haircuts.
Dude, you look like it looks like they got you good on the sides.
So I have a deformed head where it pops out, and I tell them hey, you're gonna have to cut a little bit more up there, otherwise I get it pops out the sides, And that's all I have to say. It's two on the sides, deformed head, little trim on top. That's all I've ever said for a haircut for the last 15 years, and it's always been more or less the same thing. Found a great barber in Long Beach. Bam, bam, bam. Every time I said the exact same thing to the Vietnamese barber in Huntington Beach, and I got kind of faux hockey with
Dude, I gotta see this faux hockey.
Like a baby haircut, kind of.
I can see. It's like that. What's that? Fucking that cartoon. He has the dog, but he just has a little thing in the front.
I was literally thinking that his name. Pickles, their last name was Pickles. Rugrats, right? Cartoon Rugrats. I looked like the little white baby from Rugrats with a beard.
So good.
Rolling with it. I'm gonna pretend like I wanted it on purpose, just to roll with it. So we're recording this Wednesday night, like always, and then it'll be the 29th, leap day tomorrow, and the Combine is underway this weekend. And if you guys have been listening to the show for a while, you know how I am about the Combine. It's cool, right? It's cool to see metrics and stats and who blows you away with a 40 time. But we always kind of know. I remember last season it was oh, Anthony Richardson, did you see his Combine numbers? And it's yeah, we knew he was an insane stud. Yeah, we know he's a thoroughbred. Can he play quarterback? You're not going to find that out in the Combine. But yeah, we knew going in. He's an Olympic sprinter. We know that. We're not finding out anything crazy new. But the real value of the Combine is it has coaches and GMs and scouts and agents and players all hanging out
at the bar and dinner and
tag team in the same escorts.
How we both went there at the same time.
Well, the NBA All-Star Game in Vegas every year. You're where did all these whores come from?
Bro, I was there. A friend of we know, Rennie. We went with a couple of other friends. Mm-hmm. The first time they had it in Vegas, it was 15 years ago or more, maybe.
Yeah,
and it was a sight. That's when Ghost Riding the Whip was really really in.
Yeah,
and I'm someone's gonna get run over.
So I work a lot of Friday, Saturday in Vegas. And for the longest time, I would fly JetBlue out of Long Beach. JetBlue left Long Beach, it's just Southwest. Whole long story. Anyway, it's not important. But that Thursday flight to Vegas, that Thursday afternoon to Vegas, you can always spot them. And you can see them because they always had their uniform on. And it was strippers that live in Long Beach, Orange County, South LA area that would just go work in Vegas as a stripper for 3-4 nights. You make $5,000 in a weekend if you're a good stripper at the Rhino or one of the nicer places. And you can always spot them a million miles away. Wife beater tank top, juicy sweatpants, Ugg boots, but the hair and makeup is done perfectly. So they look like they're in their pajamas, hair and makeup on point, right? Spot them from a mile away. That's how it was on flights to Vegas over that weekend. It was just a hoe train. They've all got their Versace suitcases and all their shit.
Get on board the hoe train.
Anyway, you go where the market is if you are in that service, and that's where the market is in Indianapolis. It's also where we go for great pieces of information. Awesome. I love the Combine, not because I'm on NFL Network watching tackles bench press, but because a bunch of information comes out of there and a bunch of information and misinformation. We love to mix it to divvy it all up, right? You also get some shit talking.
Oh, God.
Michael Lombardi. Raider fans know him very well. He was our, not GM, was it senior personnel executive or something? Because Al Davis was the GM. But he was the senior personnel executive when the Raiders were crushing it, right? All those AFC West titles, AFC Championship games, went to the Super Bowl, right? In those like late 90s, early 2000s. He was the senior personnel executive. And it was a weird relationship because, we'll play the quote in a second, but he got like so much sympathy because he was under Al Davis, who was kind of a tyrant, but Al Davis was still good then. Like this wasn't when Al Davis was going ham in the mid 2000s when he was senile and like in the wheelchair and you saw like liver spots on him and he was like not there anymore. Like he was still good. Like that roster, that top 5 offense, top 5 defense, like that roster was tits. And that was mostly Al Davis. But Michael Lombardi got like the martyr role as opposed to like he piggybacked on the last gasp of Al Davis being a good GM.
Around for the first few years, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, the last couple of years he was there, just, Al.
He fell completely off. Like, don't get me, Al Davis went senile and fell apart. But that roster that went to the AFC Championship game a bunch of times, Super Bowl, like, it was a lot of Al Davis. I'm sure Lombardi played his role, but.
He's not a slap, but it's like, there was one final word in that organization, and it wasn't Michael Lombardi.
So Michael Lombardi, obviously, his son Mick Lombardi was the offensive coordinator under Josh McDaniels. I think his other son is still like the assistant wide receiver coach at the Raiders. Michael,
who knows?
What's his right? Doesn't he have another?
He does have another kid. I don't know where he is.
It's a minor role in like the receiver room if he's still there. I didn't care enough to look it up. Anyway, Lombardi he's been like ripping the Raiders ever since he got fired, more or less. He was quiet when Mick was OC because his son was like in a prominent role. Gloves are off again. Here's Mick Lombardi on the GM shuffle. Michael Lombardi on the GM shuffle.
When you are a size speed team like he is, and Antonio Pierce keeps talking about the Raider way, he doesn't even have any idea about long sheets. He has no idea about increasing 40 times. He has no idea about the protocols and the specifics of each position. Because that's essentially what the Raider way is what are we looking for at each position? It's not about playing tough. See, the Raider way isn't a word. It's about this is the prototype of the player we want at this position. This is the prototype of the player we want at that position. That's the Raider way. See, this is what's just so comical. And he's talking about it because he's from Compton. He thinks he knows the Raider way. It's a joke.
Joke.
What he described is what every team does. Every team has a model of height, weight, speed, strength for positions. Mm-hmm. I talked about Bill Parcells. What did I say? If you're bringing me a guy that's a DB that's not 6 foot, that doesn't run this, doesn't have a wingspan of this, he better
walk on water.
So that's not the Raider way. The Raider way is an attitude. It's a mindset. What he's talking about, maybe the Raider way is the measurables, the speed. They need to have more speed. They want speed and size over other things. Maybe when he was there before, but ultimately right now, I don't know. It just sounds like he's just being a little bit sour.
So you can hear the saltiness in his delivery. And I'm willing to concede. I like to be an open-minded man. I'm willing to concede that his version of the Raider way as senior personnel executive, who's basically just going to Al Davis with suggestions and being told by Al Davis what I'm looking for. And he gets in the nerdery with his nerds and his calculators and his spreadsheets and his Excel stuff. And he's like, yeah, okay, that's his version of the Raider way. He's not there coaching. He's a personnel guy. He's not on the sidelines, rah. He's not getting defenses to play better because he's motivating them. He's not delivering speeches in the locker room. He's a personnel guy. And so the only Raider way he knows is that, because that's when he was there and that was the protocol. But to say to yourself, like, I know the Raider way and it's exclusively done on spreadsheets is ridiculously tone deaf. To think that's all it is. Like, oh yeah, it's literally just these graphs I put together in a basement, waiting for Al Davis's approval. That's all it is. That's the only thing that's the Raider way. Come on,
Dude, Lombardi is talking like he's never worked for another organization before. Like only the Raiders work this way. Only the Raiders have, blueprints off of what they want per position. It's ridiculous. When you hear him talk, it's like, dude, most franchises run this way, if not all franchises run. They have a prototype of what they want in a position and what that player can do and how big they are and how well they can move. It just sounds like he's a little bit more of the old school type. He doesn't like the brashness. He liked the brashness when it came from Al Davis. He liked the brashness when it came from John Gruden. He liked the brashness when it came from, at times, Jack Del Rio. He liked the brashness when it came from those guys, and I'm going to say it, and they're all white, and then you get...
Ooh, getting racial with it.
No, dude, and then you get someone who's different, who looks different, who acts different, who doesn't act like other coaches, who doesn't look like other coaches, who doesn't play that game like other coaches do, and now it's a problem. Before it wasn't a problem, but now it's a problem. And we knew this was coming. We knew people were going to come after AP because he doesn't act like other coaches do. He doesn't talk like other coaches do. What other coach in the NFL is going to go on one of the players' podcasts and cuss as much as AP did on the Rush? Or
a very small handful. I'm trying to rack my brain. Not many.
So it's like he's not different. He's not the same as everybody else. He's different. And you don't have to do the same thing that everyone else does to be successful. And that's, I think, the way where Michael Lombardi is getting dragged into this bullshit. He's dragging himself into this bullshit is because he thinks it's supposed to be, like he said, the Raider way is this. Well, the future is now, old man. And where's that from? And you can't expect people, because, that's not the Raider way that AP knew when he was growing up, because he never played for Al Davis. What the Raider way that he knew was what was around him, all the Raider fans around him, and when he went to the games and all that, that's what he knew, and that's what he's bringing now.
Well, in style of play that you can watch with the sophisticated eye, which he has, right? Like he can watch the Raiders in the 70s and 80s and how they played defense and how they blocked and the speed that they brought to the table. Like these are all, you got to be open-minded when you think Raider way, because the Raider way is many, many things. And again, when you're just sitting there with your calculator and spreadsheet as a personnel executive, and the only way you draft is pure attributes, and there's a place for that. Don't get me that. It's a very, very important place for all the stuff that Michael Lombardi brought to the table. But you just kind of limit yourself and saying like no other way is the Raider way. Like, dog, he turned that defense into the best defense in football. How many defensive players did he add other than Jack Jones? Just scrap heap guys, just kind of like,
whoever was there that we were not super impressed with before.
It's not like he went with like this great scouting move and turned the defense around and had it playing Raider style football, in your face, swarm, get to the quarterback, tackle hard, intimidate. Like, he didn't do that with a spreadsheet. He didn't do that with personnel. He did that with swagger and attitude and scheme, right? He let
scheme. Yeah, him and PG got
take
together,
over, right? Like, hey, let Max Crosby off the leash. The other 10 guys are going to do what they're going to do. Let's play more aggressive, blah, 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 right? There's scheme too. But there was a swagger. And if that ain't Raider way, then name it something else if you want to, Michael Lombardi, because it worked. It turned. I can't, every show I try to put into context how insane it is how this defense turned around. 20 years of this isn't hyperbole, 20 years of the worst defense in football. And in that 9-week period, it was the best defense in football with one personnel addition that was different from the other times. That's insane. That is bonkers. That doesn't happen. You don't have the worst thing ever for 2 decades. One guy comes in, and now it's the best for half the season. That's like making Tyra Banks ugly. That's like making me sober. making the Raiders the #1 defense. And it wasn't with personnel, Michael Lombardi. It wasn't with personnel.
Just attitude and aggression. That's what it was. And he's acting like, oh, just because he's from Compton, he knows the Raider way. Well, no, because he's a lifelong Raider fan, number one. He's a really smart football mind. Anybody who's talked about him, who's played with him, will tell you he's a really smart football mind. He can connect with these young players, and he's a motivator. So people like, oh, he's a cheerleader, he's this, he's that. You're totally downplaying what he brings to the table and what he did. This is an undrafted free agent that ended up becoming a Pro Bowler and the captain of a Super Bowl winning football team.
Yeah,
this is not a guy that's dumb. This is not a guy that don't know how to work, doesn't know how to maximize his athletic ability. He doesn't know how to maximize what he sees and make himself smarter. This is a guy who's really a football genius when you look at it from that perspective, because he's not that big, he's not that fast, but he ended up being one of the key pieces to Super Bowl winning teams because of the stuff he did off the field to get ready on the field. And if you're going to take all of that, plus he's a lifelong Raider fan, and all you're going to pick on is, oh, he thinks because he's from Compton, he knows the Raider way. It's insulting, and it's really disrespectful is what it is.
You think it's racially based?
I think part of it is because he's different. We knew this. We knew this going in, RJ. We knew this that the studs in his ears, the lowrider, the 6'4" Impala, the way he talks, letting him smoke cigars, and the way he gives interviews. He's direct. He's who he is. Part of the reason why probably Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a head coaching job is maybe he's not as refined as AP can be, but it's cut from the similar cloth. He's very direct. People talk to him. I remember watching when Eric Bieniemy was the running back coach for AP or AD in Minnesota, and he was a good hard coach, but he was cussing every other word and this and that, blah blah blah. You still have to put up a front to like kind of be the corporate guy to get the corporate job. And I think AP got this job in the only organization that would have allowed him to become a head coach.
And you got to ask yourself, why isn't, Michael Lombardi, where's he the GM at? He's the senior personnel executive at? Oh, wait, nowhere. After the Raiders canned him in 2006, he was like an assistant with Denver. Didn't do shit for years. Was the GM for the Browns for 2 seasons, and he's been doing media ever since.
They were great teams, that 13-14 team, by golly.
Like he's just like, oh man, like I was a senior personnel executive for a Super Bowl team and AFC champ. Like when the Raiders were at their last time they were at their best, I was like, dog, you didn't do shit before. You haven't done shit since. You've been fired by 5 different teams. I mean, you rode the coattails of the last gasp of Al Davis's prime. And you got the credit for it, and you turned a martyr into it, and you turned that into a career.
Dude, this shit just pisses me off, man, because he's totally just disregarding all the positive reasons why you would hire AP as a head coach. Mm-hmm. Who said a bad thing about him? Who played for him, played with him, or coached him? Have you heard anything bad? The only thing
and it's like, why doesn't he understand like these spreadsheets and 40 times? Like, that's why you hire a GM. No head coach is going to know every single thing about every single thing. That's why you hire like the nerdy Tom Telesco to handle that shit for you. You should be in the trenches getting your dudes jacked and getting the defense and polishing and refining it. Like, yeah, like he's going to be hands-on, but no, Michael Lombardi, he doesn't have to be you. He should not be you. He hired a better you named Tom Telesco, who put together a really, really damn good roster with the Chargers. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, but he put together a damn good roster with the Chargers, right?
It's just
like
it's
you
stupid,
didn't have
man.
to be you, Michael Lombardi.
And that's the thing is and that's all I kept talking about is we knew that we were going to get something like this sooner or later because of how brash she is, because of how different he is from other head coaches. Now, they might be similar to AP, off air, but AP is the same on air as he is off air with the coaches, with the media, with everybody. He's the same.
Yeah.
And if that's the way he wants to do it, well, he got the job he wanted. Normally, that's not the case. Normally, you have to put your representative forward and your corporate guy to the media, and you have to have your representative, right? Your representative self. AP doesn't have that, and it doesn't take away the good that he brings to the table to become a head coach. It doesn't take away from that, and it just sounds like he doesn't. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he acts, and because of that, I'm going to tear him down.
Maybe that could definitely be a part of it. It's also, but like, I get the example. It's like, it feels like a dude who's like, yeah, you're a race car driver, but you don't know how to disassemble the brake pads, so you're a bad race car driver. It's like, it's like, oh, so what? So fucking what? He's the head coach. He's the head coach. He's not a scout. Like, of course, do you want your head coach to be involved in the process? And of course, like, do you want like a really good race car driver can take a race car apart and put it back together, like the really, really good ones with that background? But you could be an amazing race car driver and not know how to change the oil. Like, it's possible, right? But he's just like, well, he doesn't know this super intricate part of scouting that I did 20 years ago. Therefore, he doesn't know what the Raider way is.
And we've seen this before. There's 3 different angles to like a 3-headed monster to a team. There's the executive part, there's the coaching side, and there's the player side. AP doesn't have any experience in the executive part, just like Lombardi doesn't have any experience in the coaching and playing part.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't tell somebody that they don't know what they're doing and they don't know what they're talking about because they don't know it from their perspective when they've never done that from that perspective. Just like when Lombardi doesn't know it from the player's perspective.
And this isn't a defense of Michael Lombardi specifically, but we are going to see more of this. And AP does kind of ask for it, right? When you say things like, we've figured out the Chiefs, we're going to do this, right? When you are brash, you've raised the stakes. That's why I love trash talk in combat sports. When Conor McGregor through his featherweight run said, I'm going to knock you out, I'm going to knock you out, I'm going to knock you out, I'm going to knock out Jose Aldo. And he did everything he said. It raised the stakes and it was more exciting. And then when he fell, it made it feel even worse, right? Because you talked all this shit, right? Like, you're just raising the stakes, which makes it more entertaining and more fun. Antonio Pierce is raising the stakes with his mouth. Again, not Michael Lombardi's comments specifically, but rightfully so. He's going to say things where people are like, you guys had a losing record last season. You don't have a quarterback. You're a first-year head coach. And now the stakes are raised, and now the delivery has to happen. Now the execution has to be there. Because if we do win, the I told you so's are going to taste delicious. If we fall, their I told you so's are going to sting. But AP raised those stakes. And that's what he demanded of this team. And as a fan base, we're going to go through those same hopefully highs and God forbid those lows that AP has delivered to Raider Nation.
Look, man, everything that starts out, any accomplishment that you make, it starts out with one thing. It starts off with an idea and an expectation. That expectation that you go into something where, okay, rarely do you I'm just gonna jump out of a plane and see what happens. There's certain expectations that you have when you go to accomplish something.
Yeah,
that's what AP is doing. He's setting the expectation. We're going to talk loud and we're going to play even louder. This talk is what we all believe. So let's go out there and work hard and go out there and make it happen. And I don't have a problem with it because he knows that, look, anything that he did positive last year, forget all the negative stuff he did. Anything that he did positive is like, oh, cool. like you're playing your little nephew in basketball, and he double dribbles like 19 times.
Look at the brand new interim head coach getting a W.
Right?
Oh, that's so cute.
Look at wow,
He
they're really
tries so
playing
hard.
hard. They're playing hard for this interim head coach. That's all gone now.
Yeah.
So you have a bar that
For
you need
fucking
to meet.
real.
Yes.
For real.
This is not whatever you do positive. It's going to be, every little thing that he does is going to get scrutinized times 100 as it was before. And he knows that. And that's why I think he's leaning into it, which is, a bold strategy, Cotton, but whatever. It is what it is. Where's that from?
Let us know. Comment section.
I give you guys 2 already. Utah, give me 2. All right, where's
Third
that
one? That's an easy one. Easiest one of the 3.
Easy one, yeah. Sure.
So again,
these.
my favorite part of the combine is we get some information out of people. And Tom Telesco, the new Raiders GM, he's talked about this before, but this was a nice, concise kind of way that he was asked this question. Basically, he was asked, "What are you looking for in a quarterback?" Here's his answer.
How many do I get?
There's a lot of different ones to choose from.
Yeah. The 2 for me are probably leadership and toughness. I think you have to start with that. He's got to be somebody that when you're in the huddle and those 10 other people, those players are looking you in the eyes, that you can lead that group, and you got to have that. So those are 2 most important things for me. And then it kind of goes into, preparation skills for that position is like none other, probably like no other sport in professional sports. So talking about leadership, toughness, preparation skills, and then when you get to the physical abilities, then you start having sliding scales for different things, because there's no perfect players. You have to realize that. But I always start with leadership and toughness, work my way from there.
Kind of generic, but kind of specific a little bit. I know that I just oxymoroned myself. Do you think he's talking about a specific player, or do you think he's just talking in generalities?
I think in that clip he's just talking in generalities, but I do think I'm convinced everybody has their guy that they think they can get. Mm-hmm. And what the combine does, it just kind of confirms what you've already watched on tape. If something pops, okay, then I'm going to go back into the tape and see why didn't it show up, or did I miss it, right? Mm-hmm. But as of right now, the work is pretty much done as far as like the football acumen, the football, like how good they are at playing the game of football.
Tape study, that kind of thing.
That shit's all done already. What they're doing now is they're getting to talk to him, like, is he a basket case? Is he just showing up because, like, with NIL now, like, these dudes got money now? Mm-hmm. Are they showing up with all louied out, like, whatever? Like, I don't really need this. Wherever I get picked is fine. I don't care. Now you're just hearing how they can retain stuff and, what they retain from their college game plans and stuff like that. It's just little things. Now you're just kind of like dusting off, the sculpture. But they know that, what guys they're looking for.
I wonder though, is he talking about someone specific? Was it like maybe a Freudian slip out of him, where he's saying like, all right, here's the things I'm looking for, but in his mind he's like thinking of Penix or Willie or whoever, right? Like he's thinking of somebody, and then he's like, all right, let me speak in generalities, and he accidentally described his guy. Does that sound? Does he describe anyone in the draft to you specifically?
I mean, any one of them.
Okay.
Any one of them. So leadership, toughness, how they prepare. I mean, it's any one of those guys. When you get to the physical attributes, which is where you can separate the guys when you start talking about them, he didn't really go into that.
Yeah.
Because look, ultimately, you have to be able to make the throws. You have to be able to do the things that you need to do as a quarterback anyway. So just why do you even look at that first? On top of that, what does he have? And then when he talked about the sliding scale, I mean, physical tools-wise, Farva does not have the physical tools as anybody of the top 6 quarterbacks. 7, 8 maybe quarterbacks, maybe even 10.
Just mustache.
Physical tools. Because if you take a look at like Rattler and Milton and the kid from Notre Dame, like those guys have better. The kid from Tulane, they have better physical tools, bigger arms, they're more mobile, all this stuff, right? That sliding scale is okay. Well, maybe his accuracy is just off the charts better than everyone else's.
Yeah.
maybe his processing speed is just off the charts better. That's where the sliding scale comes into play. But I don't think he's the one spot or the one thing that he was talking about that could separate the players from one another. He didn't really talk about it at all.
I do appreciate the elements of like he looks at like leadership first, which because you think of like intangibles and you think like, all right, well, like he can process and throw the ball and he can run and he's got a lot of experience and he won in college and this is like, no, I want leadership quality. I want you to be able to stand in a huddle and command. I don't know. It seems kind of like romantic as opposed to like something you can tangibly put your finger on.
Ultimately, man, your quarterback, if you want to win consistently for a long period of time, you need to be able to just watch like coach's film of a guy play with no crowd, no bias announcing or anything like that, and he needs to pop off the screen.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be your quarterback needs to pop off the screen to be, oh wow, that's a really good quarterback.
Yeah, consistently,
like that has to happen in order for you to be that. Do
you think he with that description he's thinking more free agent than rookie? Do you think he's thinking draft with that description, or is he thinking veteran?
I think he would rather draft a guy because then they set their timetables at the same time.
Well, I think for sure he'd rather. I mean, if you like, look, no question, the optimal way to go is you draft your rookie, he hits, he's your guy for 5 years cheap, and then he's your guy the next 10 years expensive. Like that's the optimal way. I'm just trying to, because again, Telesco's new GM for us, right? Like he's been in the job for a month. I'm really trying to get into his brain, and maybe I'm overanalyzing 42 seconds of him being on the podium. But that's kind of like we're nibbling whatever morsels we got as I try to figure out Telesco. I know his history, right? I can look at I remember who he drafted and who he got, and pretty successful, right? Pretty good at it. As far as like mentality, I'm still learning him. I'm trying to like get between his ears.
Well, if history is any indicator, he's not trading back because he's never done it before.
Mm-hmm. He's
only traded up. So
dude, I know you were down for a trade down if we didn't trade up.
Yeah, man. There's just a lot of good players out there. And especially in that kind of, I don't know, 11 to 25-ish range. There's you could just flip-flop a bunch of those guys.
Yeah.
And you're going to still get a really good player. It just depends on, because you're not going to get, like we did the math. Once you get to 13, you're not going to get one of the top 3 quarterbacks. You're not going to get one of the top 3 receivers. You're not going to get one of the top 2 tackles or the top 2 defensive linemen or the top 2 DBs. So it's like you're not going to get one of the top guys at the main positions. So it's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? You just get like the 3rd best tackle out there? Okay. And I don't know. If history is an indicator, like I said, we're not trading back, and watch us trade back. But he's definitely is a guy that is, because if you take a look at the top quarterbacks in the draft, they tell you what teams that they're interviewing with.
Yeah,
this is interviewing with the top 3 picks, right? And from the Giants and the Raiders, like it's always and the Raiders. They're always one of the guys. They're interviewing all the freaking quarterbacks. So they're gonna get one this season. They're gonna draft one, whether it's the first round they move up or they get one later in the draft. But they're gonna get one.
So I'm spending all this time trying to like get between the ears of Tom Telesco, our new GM, and try to like figure out how he thinks and how he's going to turn this team. What he's going to do with his team. It took all of 10 seconds for the Bills GM, Brandon Beane.
Such a good clip.
To say the quiet part out loud of how a general manager thinks.
I mean, we got criticized a little bit for how much we gave up for Josh. And I'm like, well, if he doesn't work out, I'm not going to be here anyway. And if he does work out, nobody's going to give a shit.
That's exactly what I've been saying.
What a great line. What a great line into like the mentality of a general manager, right? Like, we think like, oh, a general manager, like he wants what's best for the team and what's best for the team only. It's like, no, he's a human being at a job and he wants what's best for him. And so when you go and you like, that's why GMs spend so much at quarterbacks, because if they hit, you're the quarterback genius. You trade all this up, but you saw the guy, like you knew what was up. You put $100 on, red 23 on the roulette table, and you hit. Like, oh, he's a super genius. That is job security forever. You are the savior of that franchise. But if you put your kid's college education on red 23 and it misses, you get fired from the franchise and you start over on someone else's dime.
Or somewhere else.
You start somewhere else, right? So there's no, like, in 10 seconds, Brandon Beane just said the quiet part out loud. Because, like, again, like, we're fucked. We're so, like, right? Like, we're stuck holding the bag. The fans of that team are now like, all right, there's 3 first-round picks gone, and we have to wait to draft our next guy. That GM's just off to another job, right? It's an incestuous, like, thing with personnels and GMs. Like, he's gonna get another job somewhere. Like, maybe not a GM if he whiffs terribly, but he'll get a job somewhere as a scout or assistant director of personnel or something like that. But that's how society functions. And it's a great example. Like, you look at, a district attorney that, like, has a hard on for getting this, like, gangster. It's just like, he doesn't care about making sure the law is done. He wants to make his name off of Hoffa. You know what I mean? Like, that's what this is he's, and the beneficiaries of this mentality, when it hits great and everyone wins and everyone's happy. But the mentality of, like, well, if I fail, I'm not going to be stuck with the bag, is why the price of moving up for quarterbacks is so high, because the guys making that decision don't fit the bill. They get the rewards, but they don't pay the bill.
They don't have to pay the bill afterwards. Yep. So, and I mean, one thing that people don't remember is the Bills had to move up twice. They moved up from like 25 to 12 and then from 12 to 7. Mm-hmm. And that's the mentality that a lot of these GMs have is, if they don't have a quarterback, because the thing is if he doesn't have a quarterback, he's not going to be around long anyway.
Yeah.
So go, if you're convinced you've done the work, like I said, you've scouted your own team, you've scouted the free agents, and you scouted this year, next year, maybe the year after that. When's the time where I can go ahead and make this run? This is the guy right here. I'm telling you, this is the guy. This is my guy. Because I know for sure, for me, if I'm going to go down with the ship, it's going to be with the guys that I chose. It's not going to be the guys that were just kind of left over. I'm going to have to put my people in there.
You didn't get credit for it, right? Like, you're not, you know what I mean? You're not, it's not your guys. You don't live in, if they succeed, you don't get anything for it, right? The other part of this too is, like, I didn't remember this from 2018, but, like, this Josh Allen situation is probably the best case scenario for us, right? Like, they went from 12 to 7. We're at 13. Josh Allen dropped to 7. It's like, Jaden Daniels, is it possible he drops to 5, 6, 7? I mean, it's not likely, but, like, is it possible?
The latest we can get him is 7. Could
the Raiders trade 2 seconds? Again, like, this is my wet dream, right? Oh my God, Jaden fell. We trade 2 seconds. We still have, if we miss, we still have all of our first round picks in the future. We take a shot at, like, this great potential, move up 5, in our case, 6 spots to 7 or something like that. Like, the Josh Allen situation is like our wet dream, where we are trading up, but the value is there. We're not giving up the future first rounders for it. And of course, he has to hit. I forgot how that all unfolded in 2018 until I went back and listened to this and read it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, a lot of old, the Bills might have done this, who knows? But a lot of old, borderline racist tweets were, like, surfaced from Josh Allen when he was in high school or whatever. And they kind of, who is this guy, right?
Yeah.
And, maybe that affected his draft stock. Maybe it didn't. Who knows, right?
Can we wrangle up some?
But look,
Daniels, like, I don't know, does he have a shady past that we can bring up so he falls to us? The
absolute latest we can trade is number 7 with the Titans. Yeah. Because number 8 is the Falcons, and if Jaden Daniels is there, they're taking him.
Yeah.
So that's the absolute latest pick we can jump into. So I've been doing a little bit of homework, And if we could go into the number, like the big one is probably going to be the Patriots, and who the Patriots get. If the Patriots go like Joe Alt from Notre Dame, the super like can't miss tackle prospect, right? If they go that route, got to be on the phone right away to the Cardinals at 4. And I think a 1 swap this year and a 3, and then a 1 and a 3 next year will get it done to go up to 4. Maybe because they know we're going to take a quarterback, they'll squeeze one of those 1s into it, or one of those 3s into a 2. But if it's the 4th spot, I think we can do it.
If Daniels is on the board at 4 to anything, that those picks are going to be through the roof valuable for whoever's got it.
Yeah, because we're going to have to get in the bidding war with the Falcons, because the Falcons are at 8, and it's
Falcons and half a dozen other teams, right? Like obviously the Falcons are within more striking distance and don't have to pay as much, but there's half a dozen other teams. Could be
with the Giants. We don't know what the Giants are going to do.
Let's move up 20 spots, right?
Yeah, there's the Giants. There's maybe the Rams. The Rams are behind us, so I'm not really worried about them. But then there's like the Donkeys are right in front of us at 12. They can be in the mix to do that too, but they don't have a lot of picks because of the whole thing when they got Russell Wilson. So there's that whole thing. What do they have left over? Who knows, man? So I think it's going to be New England. New England is going to be the real telltale sign of what's going to kind of like upset this board. Because I've been doing a lot of mock drafts, and it's like, yeah, it's Caleb, May, and Jaden Daniels, 1, 2, 3, put it in like almost all the time. Like by 4, they're gone already. And but it's a big tipping point, and hopefully some GMs get a little bit loose-lipped once the scotch is starting to get poured down, and we get some insider information in the next couple of days.
It's we keep looking at like Daniels is the guy that's kind of all right. He'll be the tipping point. What happens? But like honestly, I think the real tipping point is going to be who the 4th quarterback goes off the board, because you have all these, McCarthy, Nix, Penix are all like, they're like setting up as like 2nd rounder. They're projecting as 2nd rounders. Like no fucking way. The way that this league loves their quarterbacks, those guys are going in. So it's like who rolls. It's not when does number 3 go off the board. He's going off the board within 4. Probably almost 90% sure. Caleb, Drake, Daniels in the first 3 in whatever order, right? That's almost for sure. 90% sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, when does McCarthy, when does Nix, when does Penix, when do those guys start coming off the board is when the run on quarterbacks is going to begin. Because if you're at 22 and you're like, oh, we'll easily get one of these guys. Oh, wait, 2 of them already off the board? Like
I can almost guarantee you that 4 quarterbacks will be taken by the time if we pick at 13. 4 quarterbacks will already be gone.
Yeah, it's not the number 3 guy. It's when the number 4 guy goes.
So and that honestly, that's I think what skews a lot of the numbers on like first round hit rate for quarterbacks is because like, yeah, sure, Mac Jones was a first round quarterback, but he wasn't a first round quarterback grade. Neither was Kenny Pickett, but he was the best one available at the time the person picked, and you went and grabbed him anyway. And it's like, well, that's why you don't grab a guy like that. Because in the first round.
Yeah. But on the flip side, you get more first rounders that shouldn't be in there that do hit too. Like, like Lamar Jackson at 32. Like he wasn't graded as a first rounder, but they wanted him as a first rounder because you want that extra 5th round year, right? And there's a ton of top 5 for sure first rounders that were atrocious too. So it's like with how that rookie pay scale changed. What was that? 2015,
15 or 16,
something like that. Like that clearly made a difference, but there was already a trend in that direction. It's all those. I think it evens out because guys bump in there that shouldn't be there for the right reasons. Guys bump in there that shouldn't be there for the wrong reasons, and it kind of evens out. But yeah, it's when that 4th quarterback goes is when there's going to be the run. That's when things get really, 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 really interesting. Let's talk about guys on the team, at least as of right this second. Josh Jacobs. New report coming out. Adam Schefter. Nothing mind-boggling here. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard are all expected to become free agents when it promises to be a star-studded running back market. Sources told ESPN on Monday, like you really need sources to tell you that. Las Vegas Raiders will attempt to re-sign Jacobs, but they are not expected to tag him, league sources told ESPN, especially with his franchise tag costing $14 million for 1 year.
It's a whole lot
of running back. This report was kind of duh. Like, it seemed pretty obvious. We're not going to spend $14 million for 1 year of Josh Jacobs services. Are we going to attempt to re-sign him? Do we want him back? Absolutely. Like, yeah, like, of course. He's got a Raiders tattoo. Best running back we have. Like, of course we want him back. But at what cost? What's it going to look like? And we've been thinking about this, and we've been talking about this, and we've been doing the numbers on this forever. I don't see a scenario where we don't let him walk. I just don't. Telesco played hardball with Eckler and with the Chargers. Eckler ended up staying, but it wasn't what he wanted, wasn't happy. He was bitched about it forever, but it was the right move. The only X factor here, the only wild card that I think could tangibly make Josh Jacobs stay for us at a price that's going to be worth it is the Antonio Pierce factor. If Josh Jacobs just loves AP so much and he loves the Raiders so much, he sees that Raiders is it this side, right side? Whatever side it is. Right side. Sees his Raiders tattoo. Antonio Pierce gets them all hyped. He loves the school his kids go to or whatever, right? That's the only thing I can see having Josh Jacobs stay with the Raiders, because there will be some team that'll be like, here's $11 million a year for 3 years. There's all it takes is one team to do something, get crazy with it, right? I don't know. Do you see any? Because it's gonna hurt when he's gone, but it's like, do you see any other scenario other than like pure heart?
The only thing that I can see happening is the free agent running back market from team to team has not been great. Now, teams re-signing their own guys, yes. But you have like a Miles Sanders signed for like $6 million. Like this was like a 1,200 yard rusher the last few years before then. So it wasn't some slap fucking guy that was like kind of like, oh, well, he's okay. No, this is like a legit NFL running back. With the way the running back market is going, I don't think the money is going to be out there the way the running backs think. And I think we can get him for around like that 7 to 8 range. If maybe a team offers him like an 8 to 9 with the AP factor, he may be able to come. He may want to come back for that.
Because he's finally got his 8 figures in the bank, right? Like,
yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see a team out there giving that much money to a veteran running back. No matter how good they are, if the running back is that good, the team is going to re-sign him.
Yeah,
and if he's like that good in his prime, because like look, Eckler's older. Mm-hmm. You saw what Christian McCaffrey is really the only one because he's killing it and he's young still. But man, it's just going from team to team. I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening.
To your point, the highest paid running backs in cap hit in 2024, Alvin Kamara, same team, 18 mil. Oof. Aaron Jones, same team, 17 mil. Nick Chubb, same team, 15.8 mil. Christian McCaffrey in the trade, he is the best running back in football. A little bit of an outlier, but he's the outlier, 14 mil. Jonathan Taylor, same team, 10 mil. Is there a team that's going to have to offer him 9?
And wait, because the Kamara thing is the tail end of his contract. It's the tail end of Aaron Jones' contract. It's the tail end of it when the contract gets overinflated at the end of the contract. So it's not like he got $18 million a freaking year. No, that's the tail end where they kick the can down the road, and that's why the Saints are in the position that they're in right now. Now, the Green Bay can swallow that because they have, Love is still on his rookie deal, so they can kind of like fiddle with those numbers a little bit, which is why I think we can give that 7-8. Plus, we got the Jimmy G. Thanks, Jimmy G. We got that Jimmy G money rolling through. That maybe we can do a little something that we maybe didn't think we could do if we still had to pay Jimmy G. But it's re-signing their own guys. That's what's going to make the big money at the tail end. The Nick Chubbs, the Jonathan Taylors, those are the guys that are already at the tail end of those contracts. But when they get a new contract, they're not going to make nearly that much money.
Well, the base salary on these guys: McCaffrey 11.8, Chubb 11.7, Jones 11.1, Kamara 10.2. It's still up there, but you're cutting off like 6-7 mil, right, on that part.
Kamara's 8 mil.
Kamara 8.
Kamara's 8.
It's just out of reach. It feels like just out of reach. I feel like there's got to be one team that's like, we'll give
teams
2
don't,
seasons
they
ago
didn't
rush
do it
leader.
last year, bro. They didn't do it last year. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They're not going to give him $11-12 million, dude. These are all
Josh Jacobs. Contracts. Josh Jacobs is more unique this season than last season. I feel like they weren't.
He didn't play the last 4 games of last year.
Yeah, no. That's what's going for us. Is he's coming off of?
So
it's
like, dude, he's not going to get. Dude, nobody. Saquon is not. He has injury concerns as well. Mm-hmm. You have Derrick Henry, who's a little bit older, has a lot of mileage.
Not a little bit old.
Look, it's just you take a look at these guys and you're like, it just doesn't make fiscal sense to do that in that position because of the cliff that these guys drop off of.
I think he would be the highest paid running back next season if he went somewhere else of that season, right? Of like the biggest contract given out this off season. If he went somewhere else, he'd be the highest paid. I think it's safe to say, right?
Yeah, and I think Telesco is smart enough. He may do something very similar to what he did with Eckler. He redid that last year of his contract to give him more money, but it was more money of a bonus. So they can bonus him to get close to that number he would have gotten elsewhere, but the cap hit is still low. Give him a lot of reachable milestones to hit.
Mm. Reach arounds.
Yeah, something like that.
You're making me optimistic. God, I'd love to see Josh stick around. That would be amazing.
I think he wants to, and I think the Raiders want to keep him, but I think both parties need to understand that last year is not an anomaly. It's not a blip. It's not like, oh well, the running back market is gonna shoot right back up. It's not. It's not, because the contracts that you see that are overinflated, that are over the $10 million mark, are all old deals. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a good running back or you can't have a good running back and win football games. But if you have one, you're just not going to pay him that kind of money that they think. Like, you're not going to get the Emmitt Smith type of money. It's not
you could get a 3rd round rookie that gives you 85% of the production. That's the issue.
Well,
that's the issue.
Not even 85%.
3rd round rookie.
You have a fourth round pick who's entering his 3rd year, who, when he got extended carries, freaking killed it. Mm-hmm. He was averaging almost 100 yards a game in the last 4 games of the year that he started. That's like
it happens with
a 1,600-yard season.
Tony Pollard's like all pro when Ezekiel Elliott couldn't play, and just some random rookie comes right. It's just like it happens with teams, multiple teams every season. $8 million running back goes down. This 4th round rookie comes in, 1,000 yards, basically almost the same production, but at a 10th the price.
The hard thing is to, like I was talking about last week. We just got to sit down and we got to be honest with ourselves about the situation, not just with our team, but the situation going on in the NFL right now. And the situation going on in the NFL right now is you don't pay veteran running backs unless you're keeping your own guy, unless he's that important to your team that you keep him. Because he goes to another team and there's still some hesitancy. Well, he hasn't been here. He's really good. And we like what we see, but he hasn't done it here. It's just it's a complete flip around for every other position. Usually to lure someone away, you have to overpay to get them. And the running back market, it's usually the team that wants to keep them pays them more.
What team in the NFL has a logo that you can like alter the Raiders logo easiest? You know, like if Josh Jacobs signs with somewhere, he's got to turn that Raiders logo into like something.
We talked about this. He's not doing that.
I feel like the Steelers kind of fit a little like it's like girthy, you know? Did you just put a lot of ink over it, you know?
He's not doing that. No.
Because you're going to go to like the Dolphins. You're going to go to the Patriots. You're going to go to the like, I don't know. I have to think about that. Which team logo is easiest to cover a Raiders?
You already have him leaving. Just calm down.
Well, the players are loving it in Las Vegas, according to the NFLPA grades that they give out every single year. Mid-season, they pass out to every single player in the NFL, the NFL Players Association, grades. And they grade on all kinds of stuff. They go up and down to facilities, food, nutrition, locker room, training staff, weight room, strength coaches, team travel, and head coach. The Raiders scored fantastic. A- in nutrition, A- locker room, A+ weight room, A- strength coaches, B+ ownership. Kind of surprised to see that one. Food, B+. They were ranked in at least the top half in every single category but two. In travel, they just got a C, 18th. And then in one category, they got dead last. I'll let you take a wild guess on early to / mid-season last season. What they got last in.
Damn.
Head coach, 32nd, a D. Which is kind of crazy that the guy who got absolute last couldn't get an F. Like they must really like their coaches, or like maybe they're afraid to give really bad grades for their coaches. But Josh McDaniels, 32nd out of 32 teams, according to this. And it wasn't even close.
Not even close. It's not even close. It was much worse than that.
Yeah. I'm very curious what Antonio Pierce would have got if it was during his tenure, or like, you know, at the very end of the season, or like, you know, halfway through his 9 games or something like that. I wonder what he would have gotten, because he's clearly beloved by the stars. They were very vocal about it. There's a lot of teams that love their head coaches. I'd be very curious. Would he have gotten number 1? Top 5? Maybe then. And again, it all goes back to, you know, your new girlfriend seems amazing when you're leaving an abusive relationship. Like, you know, you're grading against Josh. Not just grading your Antonio Pierce. You're grading Antonio Pierce versus Josh McDaniels, which is a great way to go if you're going to get graded.
Yeah, you're going to grade on the curve, man.
Compare yourself to shit dick. That's the way to go.
Jesus.
You ready to do some what up windbags?
Why not?
Raiders guru. Okay, Soto. Put your money where your mouth is. Who should we trade up to give up that draft capital and bench Farva for? Not the hypothetical, if he's your guy type person. Did you have a guy in mind and what you're willing to spend?
Yeah, I mean, either one of those top 3 guys. I think Drake May is a little bit more of a he has a lot more bad plays from what I've seen.
Huh?
He has a lot more bad plays out there. Not like bad results, but like just ill-advised throws. He has a lot more of those where it's like, oh, well, fuck it. I'm just going to throw it. Then after that would be probably Caleb Williams has more ill-advised throws.
Caleb has more picks. He's also hero balling every play.
Fuck, his fucking defense is like giving up 45 points a game. Like he has to freaking do that shit. Honestly, like I like Jaden Daniels, man. I like him a lot. The more tape I see of him, but I don't know. It's still. I'm glad it's not my decision to make, But the thing is, like, you're asking me a question like to pin me into a corner because, like, if that guy doesn't, well, you said you wanted that guy. Well, you know what? Fuck you. How about that? Because it's not about the specific player. Because I'm not making the decision. I do like that way of thinking. Is if you do the work and this is the guy that you want, then go get your guy. Especially if it's a quarterback and you need a quarterback, then you go get him.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I think we kind of systematically disagree. Is like you're going to bat under 500 no matter. So go do your homework. Absolutely do your homework. And if you think Drake is 17% better than Caleb and Jalen is 24% worse than Drake or whatever it is, and you do your math and you figure it out. But the hit rate's brutal. My favorite part is like, all right, who should we get and bench AOC for? Like as if benching Farva is the hardest thing in the world to do.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and forth with Raider. I went back and forth with this guy a little bit, and he's just like, so what? You just trade all these picks to go up and get a quarterback, and if you fail, just like try again in a couple of years. And I'm like, that's exactly what you do. That's what you do. Because look,
I say you do it every 2 years.
I understand that the miss rate is high on first round quarterbacks, but the miss rate to get to the playoffs if you don't have one is even higher. It's like 10 times higher if you don't have one. So you have to find your one. And if you if you do the work and you find that this guy is the one, he's better than who you have, who you can get next year, then yeah, go get him.
Ken Deal 7474. This is goddamn poetic, this one. I didn't know us Windbags had it in us.
You love this shit.
Draft horse A pulls 950 pounds alone. Draft horse B pulls 1,200 pounds. Together they pull 2,500 pounds. How is this possible? Synergy. By working together, they exceed their individual limits. AP has team playing beyond some of individual parts. Great achievement and expanded possibilities occur when everyone bought in and working together towards common goal. No limits. 2 exclamation points. I'm jacked. I'm pumped. I feel like if there was an Antonio Pierce burner account in YouTube, it'd be something like this in our comments.
Deal 7474.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about this before already. Is everyone is bought in, and that's the hardest thing to get is the buy-in. Yeah. Because you can get agreement, like, all right, I'll agree to do it, but are they bought in? Because just agreeing to do something, right, is not buying in. Buying in is like, okay, not only do I agree to do it, but I agree with why we're doing it. And I agree that if we do it, we're going to get a good result.
At the end of the day, what is the number one asset a coach should have and bring? Getting the most out of the players he has. That's it. We can talk all day long. Like he has, does he have personnel decisions? How does he hire his assistants? How does he handle media? How does he, there's a million things that a coach needs to do well. What's the biggest thing you want a coach to do? Get the most out of the players he has. That's the goal. And this team under AP way overplayed their personnel. Right? We're like the reverse of the Chargers. The Chargers like littered with Pro Bowlers but can't buy a win. We were opposite. Like this defense had a superstar, 2 or 3 pretty good players that would start in other teams, and then not much after that. Number 1 defense under AP. I have to yell it at myself because even I still don't believe it. Unbelievable. Morton Brotholm, 7552. Soto. They're all about talking to you today. I think there's a bigger chance for Farva to make that jump from year 1 to year 2 than us hitting on a rookie quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think so. And here's the reason why. The jump that Farva needs to make in order for us to be one of those teams that people talk about at the end of the season, like these guys are not just playoff contenders, but like championship contenders. We don't need just like a natural progression from year 1 to year 2 from Favre. We need like him to like magically do all these things that he showed us he was limited in before. He needs to get increase in a lot of these different areas. And maybe it was the coaching. Maybe it was he had handcuffs. Maybe it was a lot of different things. Who knows? But from what we've seen, this is not like, pie in the sky and wishing on a star type bullshit, okay? From what we've seen physically from him, he does not have enough to be one of the top echelon quarterbacks in the NFL. He doesn't. That is a fact. Now, if his other things get so good that it can elevate him and he gets better at some of those physical things, okay, I can see that. But nothing that he's shown us tells us that he can hang putting the game on his shoulders back-to-back weeks on the road in the playoffs against Baltimore, against KC, against the Buffalo. Like that's what he has to do, and we have to be confident that he's one of those guys who can go out there and do it. And I don't know that he showed us he can do that.
So I'm 100% with you because we both agree on what the definition of hit is on a quarterback. Hit is a quarterback that can put the game on his shoulders and win us a Super Bowl. Like that's the hit we're looking for, right? Like that Favre hasn't prevented that at all. In defense to Martin Baltham, if his definition of hit is just next season, year 2 Favre is better than rookie year 1, that's a very real possibility. It's a very, very real possibility that whoever we draft as a rookie is going to be worse than Favre in the 2024 season. That's a very real possibility. Because remember, Favre had everything going against him last season. The stank of Josh McDaniels, rookie, no one believed in him, coaching changes, like the basement of Favre we have seen. Like there's no way Favre is going to play worse than he did this season. And towards the end, he played pretty, respectably, very respectably, right? They always bring up 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the last 4 games. It's a narrow window that they're bringing up, but it's real. It's very, very real, right? So I think what is possible without those that the weight vest he was wearing, for lack of a better term, last season opens the door for possibilities. But you are a bajillion% correct, Soto, in that just like the physical, tangible assets we've seen in him as an athlete, he would have to. It would be a remarkable change for him to be the Super Bowl quarterback we want, not the respectable quarterback, but a Super Bowl quarterback.
Look,
which is what we're looking for.
Any quarterback out there can win a Super Bowl, can go to the Super Bowl game and win that one game. But how many can get you there? How many can get you to that gauntlet of the best teams, either home or on the road, to get you to that Super Bowl? And you're not going to win it unless you get there. So when you talk about, he can win a Super Bowl, well, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, really funny, fucking idiot. That's not what we're talking about here. Can he get you to the Super Bowl? Can you beat those teams one after another, week to week to week, to get you to that point to be able to win a Super Bowl? That's what we're talking about. Josh Allen had a terrible rookie season, but you saw the physical tools that if he's able to hone the rest of the stuff, he had the make to be that kind of guy. And he got better, and he is. But it's like, I just don't see it I don't see it out of him. I don't see it. I didn't see it in the past. And it's a shame because he has like a overwhelming amount of the other stuff. He's calm under pressure. He's an even-keeled guy. He's a leader. The team likes him. Yeah. He's accurate with the ball. He processes things quickly. But even for a guy, I don't think his arm strength is a problem, but it's a problem when you go up against teams that know you're going to throw.
I would say next season, Favre is a very, very good chance, probably over 50% chance better his rookie year just next season than Jaden Daniels, Penix, Nix. Like There's a very, very good chance that just next season he's better than those quarterbacks because he's got a year under his belt. He's like 26 years old, right? Very good chance. But are we just trying to be like who's the best when they're still learning next season, or who's going to be the franchise quarterback to win a Super Bowls? That's the question we're asking, not who can, be 7% better than the rookies next season. So again, in fairness to Martin Bartholomew, but like you might be onto something if that's what you're looking for. If you're just looking at next season, who's just gonna be better for those 17 games, there's a real possibility you're right.
But also,
that's not what we care about. We care about winning Super Bowls long term. That's who we're drafting. We're not drafting a guy to get us to 9-8 next season. We're drafting a guy to get us to 12-5 in a Super Bowl 3 seasons from now, 5 seasons from now, 7 seasons from now. That's the goal.
So, like, who can be better? Favre with a wide open offense, or let's say Jaden Daniels with a more simplified offense. So it's like he can run. Yeah, is Favre the better quarterback because he can do the entire playbook? Yeah, but if you just stick to the stuff that Jaden Daniels can do, will his results be better? Probably.
While he's learning, right? While he's
and then you can add more stuff as you go along. But I mean, you have to ask yourself, why were the handcuffs put on Favre? Like AP said, he was handcuffed. We didn't let him do a lot. Well, why is that? Because I'll tell you something right now. If he was able to do it at a high level, guess what? The team would have let him do it.
It's so funny how we were like tooting the Favre horn last preseason, and now we're the ones kind of like hitting the brakes on Favre this preseason. It's like, this fourth round rookie.
It was all fun and games last year with Favre. We all knew what it was. Like, we all knew what it was.
It started fun and games.
I was confident he was going to play better than Jimmy G or Hoyer when he went in there.
Yeah.
I was confident about that. It doesn't say much about our quarterback room. But, yeah, I like Favre. I like who he is. I think that if Favre is starting next year over a rookie that we get, I don't think it's necessarily a terrible thing because I think Favre is a good quarterback. But is he going to be good enough to be able to do what I said to get us to Super Bowls, to beat all these teams? Because, look, if we get Jaden Daniels and 2 years from now, Jaden Daniels gets us to the Super Bowl, but in the championship game he gets knocked out and he can't play in the Super Bowl. I think Favre can go in there and win the Super Bowl, but I don't think he can get us there.
And I think sometimes also, like, obviously the quarterback position in the NFL is drastically different than any position in football and drastically different than any position in sports. But at the end of the day, just simplify things for a second. Let's try to get the best guy at every position for what we're trying to do. Is Favre that? No. Definitely not right this second. And probably not in the future. Think of it in those terms too. Like, let's just improve every position. Every position. Let's just try to improve every time. And if we try to improve the quarterback position and Favre beats everyone out, right? Like, cool. He must have done something amazing, right? We are still trying to improve every single position on this team. All 53 roster spots are up for grabs.
Let me amend that. Favre does not just have to be better than the rookie quarterback coming in for us to stop looking. He has to be that guy in order for us to stop looking. I don't want us to fall back into a same old trap where we're like, okay, well, this guy's better than the other guys that we have, so yeah, we're good at quarterback. Well, maybe not. If you don't have that guy, you still have to go get him.
If you have the ability to improve any position, you do it.
You do it.
And there is very, very much an ability to improve on QB1.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, that'll be it for us. The Combine starts kicking off this week. By the time you're listening to this, the Combine will be probably underway.
Already going tomorrow or today.
Let you know the big news that comes out of there, any big players moving around. Let us know in the comment section if there's any players that catch your eye you want us to talk about throughout the following week. Until then, knock on wood if you're with me.